Hey Lou, why did Mickey Mouse go up into space? To find Pluto. I think I should have been bird watching today. And yesterday too. Don't tell Missy. She'll be quick to jump on that bandwagon. Birding's so much better than working. We were talking the other day about how things were when we grew up, and I basically had the roam of all the mountains around. I was the only young man for hundreds of acres. Me and my dog could roam anywhere we wanted to. Now I'm sure I wouldn't let my kids go hardly anywhere at that young age, but when I was that age, just go wherever I wanted. Such a great time. And the conversation was like, well, I can't believe you weren't more into fishing. I just never have been into fishing. My uncles fished. A couple of my uncles fished. We were hunters. I'd hunt. I loved to hunt. I loved to get out in the woods and do that, but I just never been much for fishing. But birding, man. She says, well, you gotta be slow when you're birding. I said, yeah, but I can see the birds. The fish, I just kind of got to sit there and wait for them. So I just never really took a liking to fishing. I like the idea of it. I like the idea of fly fishing and all that. I appreciate people who fish and the knowledge that they have. It's just never been for me. But put me on a trail with some birds. Let me hear that song. Let me be inquisitive about what's around that next bend. I've been a rambler, a rover. I want to see. That's why I climb a tree when I deer hunt, because if I don't, I'll be 2 miles over before you can shake a stick, you know what I mean? So, what a day. I'm reminded this morning of that old Colin Ray song. In 1876, an old boy named Bell invented a contraption that we know so well. So, in 1876, Alexander Graham Bell made a phone call. The very first phone call to his assistant, Watson, who was apparently in the next room. Now, I find that ironic because in 147 years, we haven't advanced that far. We still use our phone to communicate with the person who's right next door. I got this annoying habit called duck lipping. I think I started it, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. I got hurt. I got hit in the mouth and I had to get stitches in my mouth, and I started that habit. Well, now I've got this habit that I can't get rid of. So occasionally you'll catch me. I'm trying to be cognizant of it, but it's my concentration. Duck lipping. You see me duck lipping all the time. Not like the duck lip girl pics or whatever, but just duck lipping. You know I'm in deep thought, deep concentration, trying to get it done when I'm duck lipping. It was still exciting to find one of these things. Remember when you were a kid and everybody told you if you get it in your eye or whatever, you'd go blind, or if you stepped on it, you'd go blind? Maybe there's some kind of truth to that, I'm not sure. But it's still fun to find one, and still fun to step on it and see that cloud of dust. Is that the child in me? I hope so. I don't know if I taught my kids or not. I don't know how much time I got to spend with them finding them. But certainly teach my grandkids. Don't step on those. Maybe I'll be slower now with the time I spend with my grandkids. I think sometimes we're so fast with our kids. We're so caught up in trying to survive, trying to provide for them. We took a lot of time with our kids. We spent a lot of time. We have a family that means a lot to us, gathering together, building that. But you still look back and you think, man, the little things. Did I ever teach my kids about puffballs? I don't know. But I hope I get to teach my grandkids about puffballs. Just the interesting things you think about when you're roaming around. So, thinking about telephones and how far that's advanced, I'm sure some of you still have landlines in your house, but for the most part, nobody has a landline phone in their house. I certainly think it's a generational thing. I would rather doubt that any younger person has a landline phone in their house. We don't. And why at this point would we need one? I mean, sure, there's some risks out there. If the cell phone network goes down, we can't make a phone call. I don't know that risk is any greater than, a tree falling across the line or some outage of that sort. And if we have some kind of solar flare or EMP attack, I think that's going to take out systems that run the phone networks anyway. So the simplicity of Bell's phone and the complication of our phone, the complexities of our phone are drastically different. So in another video, I talked about using what you have and rigging it up. And that works pretty well, except I have one reel and I strung all that 3 or 4 and I thought that I would be able to just wind them up. That's not a thing. They get bound up on each other, so now I've got to take, it was really good for winter, but now I've got to take it all back apart in order to wind this up to move to the next piece. Now, individual strands coming through those wires, the wires are the problem, but individual strands coming through those, but even those connectors, when you bind up on a turn, it's all got to come loose because it just kind of ties itself up. Individually, they'll work great. In a loop system, no. Now when you're rotating all the time, and you rotate and you feed and you rotate and you feed, or you rotate to grass, and you don't have a lot of pressure on your fence, these posts are probably okay. These farm store posts are probably okay. But you can see that, especially in the cold, they get brittle. And when you've got a lot of pressure, why do you have so many strands for your sheep? Well, because they were going to be in here confined, because we had shelter here, all the hay's here, we don't have access to move it around. Now, we had an easy winter, so we probably didn't have to do this, but how do you know that in December? So I started this up in December, January, to keep the sheep from pushing out under. You can see here that this fence, and you try to put a strand of wire around it to juice it up, but it touches this fence. And so, I mean, none of this is, the method we want to use, but this is what we have, so we have to develop our method within that method. So these are the posts we had. How do I go out and how do I take advantage of the posts I have? So drilled some holes, put some wires through them, and that's going to work okay. When we have just a single strand, it'll just come right through there. But these multiple strands get hung up, so now I've got to take it all back apart in order to pick it up. So it served its purpose for, 3 months or so, to keep the sheep confined in this area, which isn't ideal, but that's what we had to do. None of this is gonna work out well in the long run, because if you have a gate, if you have a handle attached, I mean, they don't pass through these, but you would normally just go and drop these off and then reel it up. Well, you can't just simply drop that off, so you either untie the gate or the handle and let it come through, which I guess that's probably simpler than taking all this wire back off. But I didn't want to throw away all these posts. I've got to figure out some way to use them. And what would broken fence post be without showing you a bunch of broken fence posts, whether they be wood or plastic? And maybe hopefully one day we can get that fence system built like Greg Judy has. We don't have that luxury right now. So we have to take that spirit and say, let's get her done. See how much of a mess we can make out of this spool while we roll it up. All this goes to show that proper planning can save a ton of frustration, a lot of work. So we finally might be to a position where we're ready to move this dozen or so sheep. They're gonna stick their head out through that again and get stuck. But I don't think I'm gonna be able to record this because I predict a lot of drama here. I'm sure they're gonna be so interested in what's in the bucket that they're gonna follow me wherever I go. But just as soon as you feel good about that, they end up 3 farms over. Found water. More sheep. More sheep. Stay low. More sheep. More sheep. More sheep. More sheep. More sheep. Hang a left, sheep. Hang a left. Stop, Lou. Stop, Lou. Hang a left. Keep going, buddy. Stop, Lou. Stop, Lou. Stop. You think about how far this technology has come. We start off with a phone just to make a simple contact, simple communication with someone that will eventually be long distance, connected still by cables, connected by electrical impulse, and then that advances to cell technology, and then that's not gonna work. And then see, think about how far this technology has gone, going from a simple communication, simple contact with someone that, you know, is in the next room, and then will eventually be around the world, still connected by cables of some sort. Then we progressed to satellite communications, and then now we have cellular technology, radio signals, and all these things that are going on to help us communicate across the world with each other. Well, now your phone does everything. I mean, your phone is a massive computer. I mean, to be able to do when computers started out, to do what your phone does now would need the computer would have been the size of a house. So think about that technology. Think about that advancement. Well, this is no statement of arrogance, but I no longer take parenting advice. And I don't mean that to say that I'm perfect by any stretch. I'm not perfect. But I think that experience gives me a certain level of credibility. And I think we've done a pretty good job raising our 5 daughters, getting them to college and through college, preparing them to be parents, preparing them to be good people in the world. So I think that gives me a certain level of credibility to be a teacher now in parenting, no longer taking the advice but handing it out. And now it'll be really super fun to be able to hand this knowledge that you've gained over the years, and now at this point a new appreciation for that knowledge, down to my kids to raise my grandkids. That's going to be the great joy of this time. I just think it's important that we have an honest inspection of ourselves, that we're mature enough that we can have a real introspective look at ourselves and say, who am I actually? What behaviors do I have? Can I maturely look at my behaviors and see what I'm responsible for? And then when we're able to do that, then we're able to look at other people and advise properly. I think everybody wants to quote that scripture, judge not lest ye be judged, but you're supposed to get the log out of your eye so that you can see to get the thorn out of your brother's eye. So there's some level of responsibility there, saying that I should be able to look at myself properly first, be able to identify who I am first, know the things I need to fix for me first, that I might then be able to talk to others around me and determine how to advise them on the best course for their life. It has felt like a very long day, friends. I'm not really sure what I accomplished or how much of it I accomplished, but I've been busy all day. The sheep are in a new place, and the storm clouds are blowing in. So watch out for those flood watches that we got out. Hopefully none of that comes true. We don't have any flood problems. But until next time, love y'all. Have a good day.